Let's do a little Illustrator Effects 101, some basic stuff. How we apply them, which actually is pretty easy, you click a button, but how you can move them around to other objects pretty simply. So that's a couple of things we want to do. We need the assistance of a panel. It's the Layers panel. So I'm going to drag that up so we can see this. The Layers panel controls our objects in terms of things like visible. I've got two layers. One layer I've got locked with text in it so we don't get into there. This is the one we work in called Workspace, and everything else is there. If we click this button, it opens up that layer. There are three things in the layer, two simple paths and one group. The Cheshire Cat is a group. Now we probably won't do anything to the cat. He's just kind of there to keep us honest. Let's look at the two paths, and actually let's do this. Let's select this one, and we come over here to the word effect, and let's just do something simple like a Gaussian blur. Just something quick. Notice something that happened in the Layers panel. Over here, that circle changed. These are selection circles. When you click them, they select the object. And you've probably used those many times to select objects. But the one that we applied the effect to has changed. Let me make that a little bit bigger for you. I love being able to do this. All right, see that? Looks like a button now. That means there is an effect or effects, plural, applied to that particular item. So let's say, for the sake of argument, that what you want to do is you want to apply the exact same Gaussian blur to the triangle. There are actually a couple of ways we can do this. One would be the hard way, in my opinion. You'd go and select it. You'd go back up to the word effect, go down to the word blur, and over to here, select it, make the change, click OK. That's the long way around. If you go back up to the word effect, you may notice something. Under the word effect is the word apply Gaussian blur. That's the last thing we did. It's just like in Photoshop. If I select this, it will apply the Gaussian blur to whatever object or objects I have selected. Let me undo that. You say, well, Andy, I want a Gaussian blur, but I don't want the exact same Gaussian blur, but I don't want to drag down to my list and go over. So you come up to the word effect, and the next item down is Gaussian blur here. What that does is it reopens the Gaussian blur dialog box, allows you to make a new setting, and then you click OK. Choose any one of those three ways we just looked at. It's not going to make it any different. We're just talking efficiency. Which one would get it done quicker? What's the other way? Well, I did tell you we needed to look at the Layers palette. The Layers palette, that button is there because we have an object with an effect on it. Let's say you want to move the effect from this one over to this one. You don't have to have anything selected. Drag the button up to that path, and it will move it. And you can go back and forth all day long. If you want to copy it, you hold the Alt key down and drag it up. Let me undo that. So far, all these are kind of predictable, but let's do one more thing here. Let's apply another filter to the star. Say go up to the word effect one more time, go into, oh, I don't know, distort here, transform, do a roughen. They're kind of fun. We won't change any of these options. Just click OK. Now I got two things on there. If I come back up here and select this one and I go up to the effect, the only thing I'm applying is the roughen, not the roughen and the blur. So now we're getting a little bit more complicated. How do I move all of them? Well, the same way we move the one down here. Come to here and drag this, and again, you don't have to have anything selected. If I hold the Alt key down, not only have I made a copy of it, but it's applied all of the effects. So when you're working in the Layers palette, remember that. If you've got several effects applied to something and you want to move them all, this is probably the most efficient way to do it using the Layers panel.